going to talk now a little bit about machine functions, and most machines have the same functions. Some machines have different functions, but I've made a little list for you, and these aren't all of them. These are just the ones that I find people don't really know where they are, how to find them, or don't always know what I'm referring to if I talk about it. So the first one that I have here, and you can just write on here if your machine has this or where it is. Most of them should be on your machine, the obvious ones, tension, stitch width, those things, but some you might not be able to change on your machine readily. So the first one is the needle plate, and that's this silver little thing over here. And if I lift it up slightly, you might be able to see it's got markings on over there, and those markings are for seam allowance, but of course I have it on my bobbin cover as well. Seam allowances, I'll talk about it when we get to pattern terminology, but it's usually measured in inches. Then the next one is, I'll just go by this first. So the free arm, this is called your flatbed. And some of them can be removed, and some machines don't have this, or some machines have a larger one. It's wonderful to have a larger flatbed. You can also buy them extra, and this is called the free arm. Now this is very handy if you're sewing around a circle and you need to do something like hem that or put an elastic in or something like that. Then we use the free arm. The next function I want to show you is okay, hang on. So here on the front, you have different little, I have different little buttons. This one over there, it's a little backwards arrow there. That's my back stitching function. I need to hold it in while I'm stitching, and it will stitch forwards and backwards. That just locks your stitch in. This button here, I don't actually know what the official name is. I suppose I could check my manual. This little button means it only stitches the stitch once. So if I am doing a blanket stitch there, blanket stitch, or I'm doing a pattern stitch and I want to finish off, then I will press that button and it will only complete one repetition of that stitch. And then this one is my absolute favorite. Let me just grab a piece of fabric here. Is the needle down function, and you'll see I use it automatically without even thinking about it. And what that does is that helps your needle stay down while you're sewing. Now if you don't have that, you can turn this here, which is called the flywheel, and generally the agreement is to turn it in the direction that you sew. So you can turn it it's usually forward, the direction it moves when you sew. So mine turns forward, and you can just move it forward and your needle will stay down. And the reason you would want to do this is if you're sewing around a corner, you can pivot your fabric very easily. So you can create beautiful little corners over there. Show you. Nice sharp corners. And then some machines on the side, be gentle with my machine, on the side over here, some machines or at the back have a little blade that just cuts your fabric off for you. Oops, your thread, not your fabric. There you can see I've sewn a beautiful little right angle. Okay, so that's the needle down function. Then another function that I have in this area over here is I have a needle threader. And it moves down, and it has a little catch over there, and it catches the thread on the front and it pulls it through the needle. So it moves down there. You can see it's got a part that turns and it just threads my needle. Not everyone has this, but it's very handy. I also have the tension dial, and I'm going to show you in a different video how to adjust the tension. And inside over there, I think I showed this in the threading video, there's a little plate inside that's called your tension plate. Okay, now we get to, we've done flywheel, backstitch, stitch selector. Okay, obviously here at the top is the space for your bobbin winder, and your spool for your fabric. And you need to check your booklet about winding your bobbin. Mine, I just need, there it says spool. There, I just need to shift mine. Okay. Then most machines will have these markings in some way or form. This little button over here, that's just my sewing speed. That's quite handy, especially when my daughter helps me. Then I just set it nice and slowly, or if I'm stitching very thick fabric. Then most machines have, oops. Okay, I can't sew with a machine that's off. Most machines have something to this effect. So the first one on my machine is the stitch number. So that's a stitch selector. You might have a wheel that you turn, and if you have a wheel, there might be 2 numbers, and the second number at the bottom often means you need to turn your stitch width past 0. It will have an S or something. I have it on my Burnett machine. And then the next one is the zigzag width. But I want to show you what happens here. Let me see if I can get it in a way that you can see it easily. There we go. I wonder if you can see the needle over there. Watch the needle. It adjusts the needle position for me. So on the straight stitches, it will adjust needle position ever so slightly by about a millimeter at a time, a few millimeters at a time. Then the next one is your stitch length, and the longest mine can go is 5, and 5 centimeters or 5 stitch length set on 5 is a good stitch length for basting stitch. Some go up to 7, but in general you use anywhere between 2.4 and 3 depending on the thickness of your fabric. So that's just your stitch length, and of course then your stitch selector. So what my machine has, and your booklet will have this, is it has numbers over there for which presser foot or letters for which presser foot I need to use for each stitch. And then that's it for my machine. That's most of its functions. The most important functions for me on the machine, the ones I use the most, is I absolutely love needle down, and I use the back stitch quite often. I really enjoy that I can adjust the speed. I didn't choose this machine, but you know, I suppose I'm biased, so because I have it, it works for me. And then straight stitch, zigzag stitch, and automatic buttonhole. Those are my must-haves in a sewing machine. And other than that, you can really get by depending on what you can afford.